first of all, I'd just like to tell you how you are someone that I have admired from the very first time I stepped foot in one of your stores and ate at your restaurant. I've seen you out and about. I actually went to one of your stores once, and you just happened to be having a birthday party that day, and I was so thrilled to be able to be a part of that. So,
how old was I, Lisa?
you know, I was trying to remember. I feel like it was. How old are you now?
91.
91. I want to say you were maybe 87, 85, 87. It was a big party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had big parties since I was 80. Yeah. That's 11 big parties I've had.
That's awesome.
When they figured out I wasn't going to die young when they just started celebrating.
Well, I love that. You were having a very fun time that day, and I could not stop smiling just watching you have such a great time. So, and I've been to your headquarters and taken the tour of your mill, and oh my gosh, I've always just been so impressed by you and your operation and the book that you wrote, People Before Profit. You're just somebody I really, really admire. So thank you for that.
Well, thanks for taking the time to look me over. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for those of that are just joining, can you give me your full name and your business name?
This is Bob Moore, and I am the founder and president of Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods in Milwaukee, Oregon.
Awesome.
And we have been here running a flour mill since 1978.
Wow.
In this neighborhood.
Yeah. That's amazing. So can you describe a little bit about what you love about owning the mill and that operation?
Well, we have 3 children, 3 boys, and many years ago, my wife became more concerned about the health of the family and what we ate, certainly a lot more concerned with it than I was, because I was busy with my own businesses and doing other things. She handed me about 3 or 4 books that were written in the 1950s that expressed a concern with the food supply in the United States about being devalued. Mm-hmm. White flour, the chemicals that were being used in cereals and different things. And we both shared a sense of responsibility about having 3 young boys and how they were raised and how healthy or unhealthy they might be as they grew up. And my wife really took the lead in this because she took a liking to baking and cooking and canning and doing all kinds of things that were conducive to a better diet and whatnot. And through our church, we allied ourselves with other folks that shared our same concern about the food that was in the grocery stores. Mm-hmm. We spent some time in the very limited health food stores that were around with whole grains and other things that seemed appropriate to a better diet. But it was my wife's baking, cooking, making bread, canning, and the fact that we found a farm, a 5-acre dairy goat farm, that we moved out on. So we suddenly found ourselves in a wonderful, wonderful environment to fulfill these things. We grew our own vegetables, and we had many, many chickens. We had 100 chickens, and we had an egg route that the boys took out and sold eggs, and we had quite an interesting time of it. And eating healthy food became a part of our goal in life. So throughout all of this, there was still a drive on my own part to find something to do with my life, earning a living, that is, in some way that dealt with eating better. Mm-hmm. And it was several years later that I picked up a book in the library called John Goffey's Mill, and I believe that's mentioned in my book. And I still have a copy of it sitting on my desk because it's such a wonderful memory and such a kind of a godsend that I was there at the library and the book was laying on the table.
Oh.
The gentleman that wrote the book inherited a water-powered old flour mill, about 200 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the same kind of curiosity that I did, and he got the mill going over a period of time, and he made a statement that the public need a passport to his door when he started to have whole wheat, whole grains, and whole wheat flours and products. And I thought that it inspired me to try to do the same thing. And essentially that's what I did. I was fortunate enough to find a mill. It was a feed mill, of course, but it had all the various functions that I needed: bucket elevators, storage bins, everything I needed, grain cleaning and all. The only thing I needed was stone mills, because that's how they ground flour 150 years ago.
Right.
And through a contact, and I think, again, this is all in the book, I made a contact with an old gentleman that had an old flour mill, and he put me up to a mill that was going to be torn down. They were going to tear the whole building down, and I was able to get the machinery, the flour mills, the mills itself, out of this mill in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And essentially that's all I needed was a building and the stones, and then I was ready to go. And that's essentially what I did. So it's been a wonderful and then as the company grew, and it did grow very definitely, became much more than I thought it was going to be, much more than my partner, myself, and my wife. And it became important to me and a great purpose in my life to build and maintain a company that would provide nutritious options for folks around the world, but also to offer financial security to my employees, because I started adding employees. It just kept growing. I can remember when there was 4, and then there was 8, then there was 20, and then there was 50, and now we have, right at this point in time, to try to keep up with business, we're running 700 people 7 days a week. Well, they're not working 7 days a week. It's shifts, you know.
Right.
And 3 shifts a day, and we're very busy.
Wow.
So it turned into be a miracle, really, from my perspective.
Yes, yes. Well, I know that we're kind of in the middle of a challenging time right now, but I'm also aware through taking the tour of your headquarters there that you've overcome challenges in the past as well. What's been the key? How have you overcome challenges in the past?
Well, I have a great faith in my life, my existence, my past, and my future, and that helps us get you started with things if you have a good attitude and a good slant on things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of hard work. When our mill burned down, we had a young person running around liking to burn things down, and they burned my old wooden mill down, which I can't say was much fun. I was 60 years old when my business burned to the ground. I kept my people. I had about 24 at the time that we burned down, and they all wanted to stay working for me. And my customers, Fred Meyer, Safeway, the other grocery chains in the area, wanted me to continue selling them product. So I made every effort to stay in business, and essentially we moved to a much larger, if you're familiar with the area out here, it's the same building where Dave's Killer Bread is doing their baking. I sold that property to them after I grew out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, we're all one happy family here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I know you had mentioned earlier this is a unique situation with this interview because of the challenging times that we're facing. How has this pandemic changed how you're doing things right now? What challenges are you
Well,
facing?
Yeah, it's created quite a demand for our products. I think what's happened is there's no restaurants open, and even when you go to the grocery store, they make people space themselves, so it's kind of a nuisance to get around. And I think an awful lot of people are doing cooking, baking in the home, and they have just inundated us with orders for whole grains and our kind of food. And healthier, keeps them busy, and but it also, on top of it all, has created quite a challenge to us to be able to keep operating with all of our people, even though we're currently occupying about 700,000 square feet. That's a lot of space. But even with all the space we have, to keep a safe place for our people, our production, and the teams that it takes to make us, we've created programs, but we've also given our people extra bonuses through this trial period to stay with it and keep it going because there's such a demand for our products. So we try to respond to the needs of the day and the demands of the day, and I think and a lot of our people, because of the computer systems we have now, are able to work out of their homes.
That's
wonderful. As I occasionally walk down through the offices and stuff, most of the offices are empty because everybody's working at home on their computer and stuff. We've tried to respond to what our government and medical people think we should do, and I think we're doing a halfway decent job. It's going pretty well.
It sounds like it's going really well. I was also reading that you're doing your part in helping people stay healthy by kind of limiting the number of people or shoppers in your store at one time, sanitizing carts and credit card readers after each use, and really encouraging some social distancing. And I'm sure that's really helpful to reduce anxiety on people's part.
Well, I like to take credit for all that, but I have to tell you that I think it's really our leadership and our government leadership that have more or less insisted on this, and probably very wisely, and our medical people have insisted on it. So in this particular case, I can't take a whole lot of credit. I just have to say the whole thing seems to me like, as a country, that when we want to, we can work as a team, and this is just working pretty well, actually. If we just get past this without any more problems, we'll be way ahead of it. Way ahead.
I think you're absolutely right. I think this is really teaching us how to work as a team. You're absolutely correct, just like you do in your business. What do you attribute your success to?
Oh my gosh! You got an hour? Well, you won't accept luck, will you? I mean,
sure, I would.
No. Well,
were there people
would it be appropriate to say hard work on the part of and a strong belief in things, a strong belief in the fundamentals of food and human bodies and how they react to each other? I've had a lot of drive in my life, but at no time have I had as much drive as I have over the value of whole grains and good health, and I think I've proven it, at least to myself. We stirred a big pot, and we ended up with a big pot of whole grains, and we've had a lot of support. I've given a great deal of money to various, like OHSU, research on whole grains and good gut health and various parts of our bodies and the way they work. And unless we have good food, and that includes whole grain eating, we just simply aren't going to have the health that everyone desires. And once I saw that, which was a long time ago, and a lot of it through my wife's eyes, I just don't think we're going to have health in our land. So there's two things. Number one, the idea, the germ of it, and number two is the public's acceptance of it. And I've seen both, and I've been able to enjoy the fruits of my labor, the fruits of my people's and my business, and it's all in all has been a tremendous experience. If I had to do it over again, I would have started a lot earlier than I did. I've got about 50 years in this now, quite close to 50 years, and I think I would have easily started 10 or 20 years earlier. I can't go back and do it over. So
No.
It's been a great life.
I'm so glad. Yes. So one last question for you. What is one piece of advice that you would give someone who's struggling with their business right now?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh, that's okay. What is...
Oh, well, wait a minute. I wrote it. What did I write? Oh, here, I wrote it. I'm cheating on this.
No worries.
I saw this on a sign going down the street just last night.
Oh.
And it says, listen to me now.
Yes?
It says, stay cool, calm, and collected. This too shall pass away. Now, I don't know who put that up, but it was on their front lawn, and I thought it was pretty cool.
I love it.
To put it on I have it on the back of my cell phone.
I love it. So it was stay cool, calm, this
stay
will
cool,
pass.
calm, and collected. This too shall pass away.
I love it.
They're meeting this virus and all that, I'm sure. I mean, it's just been put out in the last few days. So anyhow, I thought that was just. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's an excellent piece of advice. Yes, thank you for that.
I'm going to get up every morning about 5:30 or 6 o'clock and have a bowl of, this morning I had steel-cut oats.
What are you going to have?
Nancy and I, to Barbridge, Scotland. You ever been there? Hardly anybody has.
Well, tell me more.
Well, it's a little town in Scotland of 750 people, and it's just as delightful as any town you could imagine in Scotland if you have an imagination for such things. And every year, for a number of years now, they've had the Golden Spurtle. Oh yeah, the World's Porridge Making Championship.
Nice.
And the one that wins it gets a golden spurtle. A spurtle is a stick. However, they add quite a design to it, little circles, and the person that carves it makes it look pretty cool. And you get a golden spurtle for stirring your oats.
Oh.
And you're pouring. And Nancy and I went actually 2 years in a row. The first year, I won the World's Championship. So I'm very proud of that. That's our oath now. And you can get it in any store, and it'll say right on it, Golden Spurtle. In fact, wait a second. I'm going to get a bag of it. I had a couple of them here at the house.
Awesome. That's great.
Well, since I'm at my house, I hit it lucky. I just went to the cupboard. Okay. I'm going to read it to you so you don't get it wrong. Now, you can go to any store, and of course, it's got my picture on the front. 100% whole grain, award-winning cereal, steel-cut oats, also known as pinhead oats. That's what they call them over there. In Scotland, they call them pinhead oats. And Bob Moore's World Champion Oatmeal. And I'm just proud to be that.
Oh, that's
There you go.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing, Bob.
I'd give you the rest of this bag if you were closer. But
I know. I would come and get it if we weren't supposed to be. Bob, is there anything else you'd like to add before we conclude?
I don't know. I'm just going to keep going. I feel this. We, as a group, we have our sales department, and Nancy and I are kind of included in that one when we go places, and we do trade shows all over the world.
Yes.
The biggest trade show we do is the one in Anaheim, California, by Disneyland, and unfortunately they canceled that because of the virus. And we do a wonderful. These are all trade shows that have people that do things like we do, foods and whole grains. In some cases, you get a lot of competition, but we managed to do our share of the business. And another big one is in Baltimore, which is now in Pennsylvania. They keep changing it around, but we do it in New York. That's a fancy food show, isn't it? And that's really a big show. And we're included in all that. We also have, what's the one in Chicago? Oh, that's the restaurant. Yeah, the restaurant show. And we do that. We just got back just before all this started from Canada and Vancouver to the whole grain show up there. I'm not getting into the name of it. So we do them all around the world, and also in over the last few years, we've done London a number of times over there. Same kind of shows. As people were concerned about their health, and companies that make products that are defined as healthy and health giving. And then we've done South Korea, Singapore twice. And Australia, New Zealand, and several others that, anyway, it's kept us running, and all these shows have done wonders for our sales.
That's awesome.
People see it, they want it, and that's wonderful for us. So, we have, where are you actually located?
In Portland.
Oh, you're in Portland. Okay.
Yeah, not too far.
To the mill. Yeah.
I have been to the mill, yes, and your restaurant. I have to say, your restaurant has some of the most delicious foods, and
we had to close it, So
yeah,
sorry.
I'm gonna be back when you guys are back open. I love that. I've seen in the past you've done cooking lessons or cooking shows as well, and I just. Your whole facility is just amazing, and I feel so inspired every time I go.
Well, thank you. I've been inspired by it, too, so I think we both share an appreciation. But in my particular case, I have to give credit for inspiration from my wife. I had the privilege of eating the wonderful foods that she's made over the years, and I'm sure that's helped me to live to be 91 and still be able to get around in the world and enjoy myself. So I've been very blessed and very privileged to have what I have. Glad to have it.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, Bob. Sounds like you've
got
it. Great talking with you. Like I said, you've been somebody that I admire for a very long time, and I haven't read your book yet, but as I started this business, that was one book that popped up in my mind that I really want to read, is the People Before Profit book, because I think that that's an amazing thing that you've done for your employees. And
do you have a copy of it?
I don't have a copy of it yet.
Well, we send you one.
Okay.
Yeah, if you give. Do we have our address?
I don't think I have your address.
Okay.
Well, that's awfully
kind
of you.
A name and address so we can send it to you?
Absolutely.
We'll get it out
Nancy, would you like me to text you with that information? Would that be easiest?
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Okay, I will text you at this number then. Thank
We
you,
have lots
Bob.
of
That's
copies.
so kind of you. Pardon me?
Yeah, I said we have lots of copies.
Well,
Yeah.
I've always been so impressed, like I said. So I'm gonna just devour that book up the minute it comes. So thank you so incredibly much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. I enjoy this carrying on this way. It's great.
Oh,
Great stuff.
good. Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time. If you think of anything else, please reach out to me. But if that's
Okay.
all, I just have really
If you read the
enjoyed.
book, you'll get all kinds of ideas. If you read the book,
Yes.
you'll get all kinds of ideas. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, you take care. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you
Bye.
both.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.